midweek with Intercharts. This is me, Shilpa Raidas, and we have Jay Vora with us today, the market analyst with Indiacharts. Jay, we are really excited once again to hear the market insights from you and also to get to know Strike platform a bit more better, Jay. So how are you doing, firstly?
All good. Thanks. How are you?
I'm doing very good, Jay. Thank you so much. So, Jay, what we see is there has been a meaningful correction in the past 1 week in the equity market across the globe. What do you make out of it, Jay? Is the bullish trend finally reversing, and can we see a double-digit sort of correction in the days to come? Also, please tell us your view on the dollar index, Jay.
Yeah. So actually, frankly, market is at a very, very crucial juncture. Okay, everything is at the edge, and they are, I mean, we have to wait for the confirmation for them to roll over from that prevailing trend. Okay, now the reason why I am saying that why they are at a crucial juncture, I'll just show you. I'll quickly share my screen and see. Firstly, now we have to understand how the global how all the indices in the global index are poised. Okay, so first I'll start with the Asian markets. Okay, so Asian markets in this entire corrective phase which we have seen, they have been very resilient. Okay, so when we look at the Taiwan index, okay, so we'll go index by index so that people get to understand the context in which I'm talking about. See, what had happened was that after 2020, we saw a very good rally. Okay, I think it lasted till 2022 or so. Okay, after that, we saw a very deep correction across the globe. Okay, and after that, there has been few markets which have seen a very good run up. There are few markets which have not seen good run up. Okay, so it is important to bifurcate between which the indices which have performed and the indices which have not performed. So when I'm speaking specifically of the emerging markets and Asia within that, Asian markets have actually done very well in this entire period. So when we look at the Taiwan index, there has been a meaningful rise from the bottom. And so far, the correction has been slow and lethargic. And that is, an indication of telling that this is just a counter trend move that we are seeing. Once this corrective phase is complete, it should eventually pick higher. Okay, and that's where when you see the weekly setup, that is actually very good, and you can see the bands and the moving average, that is the 40-week moving average, the blue one, that is converging. Okay, and when we see typically such sort of patterns, you don't immediately see a bounce. Okay, at least what will happen is that there will be a relief rally or something like that, and then it will correct. So basically, this relief rally, if at all it comes, that will help us determine if we are going to correct or no. But as of now, given that we have seen a good run up in the Taiwan index, this sort of correction is just looking like a counter trend move. Okay, and once that is complete, the Taiwan index should resume its uptrend on the, should resume its uptrend. Now this is on the Taiwan index. Okay, now when you look at the Hang Seng index, this is one index which has actually seen a very so this index has actually seen a very good up move, but after that the correction has been very sharp. Okay, and it is actually retraced 61.8% of the previous move. Okay, and it around at lower levels, and this formation actually looks like an wedge pattern, which means that this is an ending diagonal sort of pattern that we call it in Elliott wave terms. And once there is a pattern breakout on the upside, it means that this bearish trend, which is there, which is prevailing right now, that should complete, and we should see an up move. And also in the larger context, just give me a minute, sorry. Yeah. So in the larger context, people also need to understand that it is forming, some sort of inverse HNS pattern after a deep retracement and a deep corrective phase. So again, from medium to long-term perspective, if we see, this index is actually very good. And the reason why I say that also is because when we look at the Hang Seng Tech Index, just like we have a NASDAQ 100 for US, there is Hang Seng Tech Index for the Hang Seng market. And over there as well, we can actually see a clean 5-wave rise on the weekly chart, after which there has, it has been in a corrective phase. Now one needs to wait little patiently for this correction to get over, because as of now there are no signs. But the broader idea is that this is this rise is an up move. It is an impulse move, and whenever it forms an impulse move, that means the direction, at least for few weeks or few months, is in that direction, in the direction of the impulse basically. So over here, given that this is a 5-wave rise and an impulse, and this entire phase is a corrective phase, so eventually one more leg on the upside should come by. Okay, so this again is broadly a bullish setup from a medium term perspective. Okay, now when we look at the other indices of Asia, like Kospi index, okay, which is the South Korean index. So over here as well, the bottom had occurred over here. So I have the counts, in my software, but broadly this was W. Sorry, W ended over here. So this was ABC, then it was X, then it was ABC, and no, sorry. The counts which I had was, this was ABC, this was W, then this was ABC, this was Y, this was X, and this was ABC, and this was Z. So the correction ended over here. After that, we saw a leading diagonal pattern in the Kospi index, and after that it has been in a corrective phase. But again, if you see after the up move, this is a healthy correction which it is seeing. Once that is done, I think over here as well, eventually it should rise higher. And the reason why I'm saying that also is because when we take the top over here, okay, so this was W, X, Y, X, and again this is Z. So typically in Elliott wave, we say that whenever Z completes of a complex correction, it means that this corrective phase is complete, and once we get a confirmation, it should eventually rise higher. Okay. Now, this was on the Kospi index. So when we look at the Thailand index, which is basically set index, okay, over here, what has happened is that it has completed a 5-wave rise, okay, and it did not see a major correction like what Thailand and Taiwan and also, okay. But over here, what it is happening is that again, when we take the top over here, okay, so this is W, this is X, okay, this is Y, this is X, and this is probably Z that is happening. Now again, Z means that it is in the last phase of the corrective move. Okay, so once that happens, a long 1.5 year, 2 year kind of correction will be complete in Thailand, and then eventually even that should rise higher. Okay, similar is the chart of Jakarta index. Okay, so what had happened was that there was a big move after the COVID, after this March 2020, when COVID occurred. And since then, it is in a sideways phase. Okay, now when we zoom in a bit and when we look what is happening in the near term, okay, so in the near term, it is stuck in this range and it is trying to break out. Once even that occurs, we might get a positive Q over from this market as well. So the broader point which I'm trying to make is that when we look at the Asian markets, it feels like they are almost near to the short-term correction. Okay. Yeah, so, they are already picking up. So that is what we are seeing in the Asian indices. Now, on the flip side, when we look at the developed market, okay, and when we see DAX, so over here, there is a risk that it is breaking below the 40-day average. Okay, but again, this is, this is the weekly chart, so it is near the 40-week average. But yes, in the near term, see what has happened is that there is this trend line breakdown. So to negate the bearishness, it needs to, cross and sustain above this trend line to negate this bearish implications. Or else it can be, it can see some sort of correction. Okay. Now, similarly, when we see the France index, okay, it is nearly at this bottom, okay, which is at the support level. when we look at the FTSE index, which is the UK ka index, okay. So over here we can see that there was a nice triangular structure that it had formed, and after that it has broken out from this triangular structure. Now this has a positive implications, okay, because this is an impulse. Even this rise we can see 1 2 3 4 5 as an impulse, and now it is pulling back. Okay, so ideally once this near term correction is complete, even this should pick up in the short term. Now, where does the problem lie? The problem actually lies in the US indices, okay, which have been correcting a lot more than what the other indices have seen. So when we look at, say, Nasdaq 100, okay, so over here, it is seeing some correction. And when we look at specifically Nasdaq index, it seems like यहाँ पे थोड़ा और बाकी है, in terms of correction. But at the same time, when we look at S&P 500, okay, it is actually at the edge. So why do I say that it is at the edge? Is because when I draw a parallel channel, okay, when I connect the highs and the lows. Wait, let me make it a log chart. So yes, when I draw a parallel line over here, it is at the lower end of this line. And also, when I draw a parallel line from the top, okay, it is at the lower level of that. So both of the support levels are actually converging around the same point. And also interestingly, the 40-week average is around that same point. Okay. And when we look at the daily chart, if we try to complete something over here, basically take this as A. In B, there is W, X, Y, X, and Z, and we complete B over here, then we are seeing a 5-wave decline over here. Okay, now there is a chance that if you say that the correction has completed over here, then this could be 1 2 3 4 and 5, like that can happen. But looking at the way things are, the thought process is that it is very much close to the bottom. Okay, the only thing is that we don't have the confirmation yet that it will reverse. So the confirmation that we will look out for is firstly a positive daily close, and then on the hourly chart, we'll wait for the averages to take out on the upside, because that is where we'll be able to say that the trend is possibly reversing. Okay. Now, when we look at the Russell 2000, okay, which is the small cap index of US. US small cap 2000. Sorry. So yes, when we look at the Russell index, you can see over here that again it is in a triangular sort of pattern. Okay, and it is at the lower end of the this pattern. So over here as well, if we get this confirmation that somewhere over here a bottom is occurring, so for that we'll wait for a positive weekly close, and then on the lower time frames we'll wait for the averages to break on the upside. Okay, that's where we can probably say that a reversal has occurred. But when we look purely on the daily chart, okay, this is wave A, this is wave B that we are seeing, and within wave C it is 1 2 3 4, and this is fifth now that is playing out. Okay, so once we get a positive daily close, then we make a higher high. So those all will be the confirmations to say that the correction is getting over. Okay, now the interesting point is the dollar index. Okay, wait, I have the markings over here, so I'll have a look at this. Yeah, so look, when we look at the dollar index, so it is now sort of forming an rising wedge sort of pattern. Okay, rising wedge typically means that the uptrend is losing momentum. Okay, and once there is a breakdown from this pattern, that is when we can say that the uptrend that we are seeing in the dollar index, that can possibly reverse. Now many people will say that आज तो trend line breakout आ रहा है, so does this negate the pattern? So see, in Elliott wave, what we do is that when we draw an A, B, C, D, E, okay, the rule is that wave C cannot be the shortest. Okay, which means that if I draw a Fibonacci level measuring the height of wave C, Okay, so that comes to around 106.92. So as long as that doesn't break on the upside, because if this ongoing move, if it wait, if this ongoing move, if it breaks above 106.92, then it will make wave C shortest. That means that it is not a rising wedge, at least in the Elliott wave term. Basically, it is not an ending diagonal pattern. Okay, so then we need to figure out what is happening. But one interesting thing over here is that when we look at the daily sentiment index, okay, so it basically tells you how many people, what percentage of the people are bullish and what percentage are bearish. So over here, you can see that it is 91. That means it is now consensus that 91% of the people, view dollar index as bullish in the short term, and they expect it to rise higher. Okay, now typically we have seen, last week we were discussing about the crude oil, where the reading was somewhere around 90, and from there crude oil has corrected a bit. So something similar can happen, because these indicators and these sentiment indicators, they work as a contrary. So वहां पे अगर बहुत ज्यादा bullish reading आता है, that means everyone is bullish, and there can be a reversal on the downside actually, and it cannot move higher. Okay, so that is what we have observed in the past, and it works very well when we combine the wave count and the extreme sentiment reading. Okay. So now so these are all the things that are going on right now. So like I said, Asia mein correction, it seems like it is nearing an end, or at least it is in the last phases of that. Okay, when we look at the dollar index, so it is contrary, मतलब कि वो ऊपर जाते जा रहा है, and usually see that is what happens directionally when the dollar index keep rising higher. It puts pressure on the emerging markets, and that is what we are seeing right now in emerging markets as well as in the equity markets, and that is what we are seeing right now. Okay, and that is very much normal. So the moment what happens is that when this trend reverses, you will see all the Asian markets which are correcting right now. Okay, they picking up the trend, which is what the Elliott wave counts are showing. Okay, so the thing is that we just need to be patient, and we need to wait for those confirmations, okay, which we are not getting right now. Now, why did I speak about the world market and everything? Okay, because it is very important to understand the context in what we are talking about. So now in this case, when we look at the Nifty index, okay, wait, let me hide the drawings. Okay, when we look at the Nifty index, forget about the weekly averages. It has not even broken the daily averages. Today it was threatening to break the daily average, that is the 40-day exponential average, but it did not happen. And in fact, the most important point is that when we look at the short-term chart structure, okay, so sorry, yeah, when we look at the short-term chart structure, so this was an up move, and we have seen a 61.8% retracement of this previous rise. Okay, now that is actually very good. The reason is that there was a lot of optimism over here, because every day a phone call used to come कि अरे correction आ नहीं रहा है, correction कब आएगा, so that we can get into. Now when the correction is coming, people are actually very scared कि अरे अभी ऊपर कब जाएगा, and this is how normally the market works. Okay, so we are viewing this as a healthy correction. Okay, we had discussed this earlier as well, that Nifty is at a very crucial point. The reason why I say that it is at a very crucial point is that because when we look at the weekly chart, okay, when we look at the weekly chart, this is in the 9th leg. Okay, which means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. For impulse to happen, okay, it is 5 plus 4 plus 4 and so on. Okay, so 5 plus 4 is 9. That is what we have already achieved. Okay, if the high breaks, then this 9 legs is going to unfold into 13 legs, which means that this will become 9, this will become 10. Okay, this will become 10, then 11, 12, and 13. Okay, so basically one more set of 5-wave rise will unfold. Now the question is that will it unfold or no, और सब कुछ 9 पे खत्म होगा. So when we look at how the Asian markets are how the Asian markets are poised, how the dollar index is poised, okay, that is where I think we have to make that judgment कि वो extension होगा कि नहीं. As of now, there is nothing in the market to prove कि वो extension नहीं होगा, okay. So basically what I'm trying to say is that there is nothing that suggests in the market that we have to turn outright bearish and think this entire rise is complete and we can see a correction, a double digit sort of correction. So that is how we are poised on the Nifty index, and something very similar is happening for many other indices. Okay, like if you see the auto index, okay, in auto index it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. So again, ये 9 वाला 13 होगा कि नहीं? That is a question mark. Okay. Now, when we look at the other index, like reality, this is the BSE reality index. Okay. So again, it is the same question: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Okay. So that is how the market is poised at this point of time. But frankly, if you ask me, where do you have clarity? कि कौन सा है जो अगर मार्केट ऊपर आया तो you'll see those index moving higher. So in that case, if we see, especially in the IT index, okay, this I'm talking about very short term. So in this case, from year to year, basically this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and one more leg on the upside is pending over here. Okay, that is what I know that can happen. Now, when we look at the healthcare index, okay, so over here, how it looks like is that this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So one more leg on the upside is still pending over here. Okay. Now, similarly, if you see it in FMCG, okay, it is taking support at the 20-week average. And when we look at the daily chart on the lower time frame, we have a 5-wave rise over here, okay, which means there is a pullback of this 5-wave rise and it should rise higher. Okay, in an impulse on the upside. So over here as well, it is, and the broader wave counts are also telling us that one more leg on the upside is still pending. So these are few index where we have a confirmation that one more leg on the upside is pending. Nifty auto, Nifty reality, even if we see the metal index, okay. यहाँ पे there is a guesswork, wherein ये जो 9 legs है. So over here also, if we see, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Okay. So ये 9 legs 13 होगा कि नहीं? That is what is the guessing game. But at least in few of the indices, like I highlighted, Nifty IT, Nifty FMCG, Nifty Pharma. Okay. These are all places where actually an up move can come by in wave 5, irrespective of what the market does. So now when we put the context of dollar index as well, like I said, dollar index, if it is peaking out, so that is actually very bullish for the metals. So that is giving us that early indication that this 9 is likely to become 13 going forward. Okay. So these are so the whole idea to explain the, all the Asian indices, developed market and all, was to set a context that what is happening in those part. So वहां पे correction आया, but our Indian indices as a whole is very, very resilient, which is actually a good thing, because when these corrective phase sort of subsides, the stronger ones will actually rise much more faster, and probably that is where the strength will be in the market, because in market it is always said that the strong always get stronger and the weak always get weaker. Okay, so in the overall context, our Indian market is actually very strong. So once all the the selling pressure, you can say, or you can say the negativity that we are seeing in the short term, once that subsides, that is where actually it is good for our Indian markets, and probably we will be able to rise higher. And what we are anticipating right now, okay, ये 19 वाला 13 होगा कि नहीं, so that can possibly happen.
Okay. So Jay, what are the sentiment indicators on the strike telling us, on the strike platform?
Yeah, so this is something which almost I view every day, just to know what is happening in the market. Okay, because it is very important to understand how people are positioned, so that we get that extra, bit of edge to know what market participants are thinking. Okay, so
Right.
in that specifically, I found the FII's index future position very important. So this is nothing but the FII's net long and net short. I mean, the FII's gross long and gross short, which makes it a net figure. Okay, so right now FII's, I mean, while this rally was going on, okay, the FII's long position had gone to around 60,000 sort of levels, okay, which in the past we have seen as some sort of peak. Okay, so wahan se kya temporary you see some sort of correction, as you can see over here. Okay, so in that case, we reached the peak over here and we have seen some sort of correction from here. So now this gives the headroom on the upside. Okay, जब भी next rally आएगा, this can help FIIs, give some room on the upside to form a long position. And when they do that, actually it will have a positive impact on the Nifty index, because in the past you have seen that whenever they form long positions, the index goes up. Whenever they, book out from the positions, the index typically tends to correct. So over here, they have been booking out from their positions and we have seen some sort of correction. So today's data is not out. We need to see how things unfold. And also importantly, tomorrow is the monthly expiry. Okay, so we need to see how they are poised for the new expiry. So that will give us a lot more cues. But yes, this was something that I found interesting. कि वो थोड़ा extreme हो गया था, वहां से that has cooled off. There was also one indicator that we had highlighted earlier as well, why we were bullish. Okay, यहाँ पे which we mentioned that the put call ratio, that is in terms of open interest, and this is basically smoothened by the 9-month average. Okay, so now over here what it was telling you was that a lot of people were shorting put, and that means that they were complacent ke market girega hi nahi, and that's why they were shorting put left, right, and that is where this ratio spiked to around one sort of level. Now in the past we have seen that whenever this ratio whenever this ratio comes to around these sort of levels. Okay, wait. Yeah, whenever this ratio, it comes to around 1.7 or so, typically we have seen some cooling off in this ratio. Okay, and that has led to some sort of market correction as well. So it is no different this time. In fact, after seeing this correction and after seeing this ratio cooling off, it actually gives furthermore room on the upside for the bulls. Okay, so basically if the market starts picking up from here, you will again see this ratio going higher, which means that if the ratio is going higher, that means people are now more confident to short puts. And when people start shorting more put, this ratio will start inching higher. Okay, so we need to wait if this ratio inch higher or no. Now, the one other important, which is our proprietary indicator, which is the daily swing. So whenever usually it comes to around 20 sort of levels, you see the market rising higher. Okay, and on the flip side, when it comes to around 80 to 90 sort of levels, that's where you see the market also cooling off. And obviously there will be some divergence if the trend is very strong. So see, in this correction, what had happened was that the swing, which had peaked somewhere over here, it saw some negative divergence and the Nifty index went higher. And then in this correction, it went to 20. Okay, so basically this one up move and this one down move, that cycle seems to be complete. Okay, now this ratio today has started to inch higher. Now we see some reversal in the Nifty index, and you will see this ratio probably going back to 80 or even 90 levels as well. Okay, so this ratio is giving us that indication that short term Nifty is in an oversold zone and it is trying to correct that. And average swing is a little more, medium termish kind of indicator. So supposingly if daily swing ka relevance is 1 to 7 days, so iska relevance is probably from 15 days to 1 month sort of perspective. Okay. So when you see the average swing over here, okay, it turned around from 20 and we saw a good up move. Okay, after in this correction, it has again come back to 20. And probably when it starts, this averages has already started reversing. Once we get the price confirmation as well, this will be again an indication that probably a new up move on the new up move could be unfolding. So we need to see So, broadly, when we also look at all the sentiment index as well, it is pointing us that the overbought readings which were there, those have corrected, and few of them have also gone in oversold zone, and which is hinting us towards a bounce in the near term. So we need to wait for the price action for the Nifty to confirm. Once that happens, we should be expecting that the short-term correction is complete and we should be headed higher in the days to come.
Okay. Well, that was wonderful, Jay. Thank you so much for giving us amazing and clarity on market insights, and especially for letting us know how amazing the platform Strike is. So I'm literally learning a lot every day, and you have been very helpful in giving us guidance to how the platform works. I'm sure you guys must have found this interesting. All the data and analytics can be on your fingertips. All you need to do is register for free right now. Go on to the link that I will give on the description, web.strike.money, and just log in for free. This is your opportunity, and get going with Strike right away. And while you're here with Indiacharts, do not forget to, if you're not a subscriber, subscribe to the channel, click on the bell notification so that you get a notification every time we are here with a new video for you. And the same goes with Strike YouTube. We have a separate YouTube channel for Strike platform. Okay, so I'll leave the link down below. Please go on to the link and subscribe yourself to Strike. That is where you will get day-to-day knowledgeable videos on how the platform works and all the updates on it, which is going to be very crucial for you. So, Jay, thank you so much. It was a wonderful video, and thank you for all the clarity. I'm going to see you soon. Okay, take care of yourself.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.